Welcome everybody, this is Revitz and Sarah. I want to thank you for being part of this community where we're attempting to educate ourselves around the Torah wisdom of Shalom Bayit and intimacy. The topic I have today is of extreme importance to any parent or educator, or even if you're a madrich, madricha in a youth movement. This is the topic today. Doctors are told, do no harm. As educators, I think our first rule should be do no harm. And yet, when it comes to teaching certain laws pertaining to tzniut, pertaining to the interactions between boys and girls at a young age, we unintentionally do harm. Our intentions are good. We're trying to teach and give over the Torah values of being tsanua and of the appropriate relationships between a boy and a girl at a young age and as they grow up, and hopefully seeing them to a happy marriage at the end of the road. And yet the way that we're teaching this Torah wisdom is not very wise at all. So let's have a look at what I'm talking about, and I want to say and emphasize that I'm not saying the Torah wisdom is bad. I'm saying the Torah is correct. It's the way that we are conveying it to the young people that is causing a lot of damage. When we're teaching our daughters or our chanichot about the concept of tzniut, firstly, we take it completely out of the halachic context in which it stands, which is what is erva, right? If we're going to teach them about tzniut, we have to teach them what is erva. And in order to teach about erva, we're touching on sexuality. We can't shy away from the fact that when we're telling our daughters to dress in a certain way, we're intimating something about sexuality. So the messages that they get from a very young age is what is going to help them to develop either a positive or negative sexual sense of self. And what we want is for them to be developing in the most healthy way possible, and that's what the Torah wants, that's what Hashem wants for your daughters. So how are we teaching this in a way that can undermine that most important of goals? One of the messages that girls are receiving when they're told cover up to here, is that something about my body is bad, that there's something that is negative about my body, or there's something even dangerous about my body, that it needs to be hidden. And some people go as far as to say the sin is going to be on your head if somebody looks at your elbow and sins because of you. Right? Now, halacha does not go like that. It's a man's issue if he stares even at the heel of a woman in order to gain sexual satisfaction from that. So in no way is that woman's fault. Everybody is responsible for their own behavior, and Hashem definitely is not punishing, especially not a young girl, for her heel showing, or that's talking about things that aren't even erva. A girl's role and a woman's role is to do her part of tzniut, which is to cover that which is erva, right? That's what's on her, and that's how we teach it. And I'm going to speak about a bit later, how do we teach it? But another problem is when we cover our bodies, the messages that we are getting is that our body is irrelevant. What we don't see, we don't think about, we don't look at. Some people are even told, do not look at your bodies. And it becomes irrelevant. It becomes, there's a complete disconnect between your self-awareness of who you are and the fact that you've got a body that is a very important part of who you are, and definitely for the future, in order to have a loving marriage and in order to be able to hold children. That the body is the most crucial element of Avodat Hashem, is that your body is healthy, that your body is strong. And so we need to teach those messages that the body is of utmost importance, and we have to cover it for these reasons. We'll get to what they are soon. Another problem that I see is, and this is especially when we come to youth movements, is that we use what I call shock tactics. What's the goal? To make them keep shmirat negia. We don't want the boys to touch the girls. We don't want the girls to touch the boys. So how do we go about doing this? We scare the girls into thinking that the boys are animalistic creatures that cannot control themselves. In a sense, we're already saying, giving that danger sign that boys cannot control themselves, which is unhealthy and unfair. And we're also giving them the messages that once they get married, their husbands can't control themselves. And then that puts the onus on them to provide for their husbands. Either a woman is told this explicitly, or this is the message that is kind of conveyed to her, is that she must be sexually available to her husband. Now, nowhere in the halacha does it state that a woman must be sexually available for her husband whenever the husband needs, whenever the husband wants, and yet this is what is being taught to your daughters. This is what is being taught to the Jewish women, but it is not a Torah concept, and it is not a halachic concept, and it is not a Jewish concept. So we have to make sure that we are not doing anything that might push that notion into the minds of our young girls, that they are there to provide for the sexual needs of their husbands who cannot control themselves, who are like animals who don't have free choice when it comes to their sexuality. I mean, besides for the fact that we are undermining the koach of men and their self-worth, what we are doing to the minds of the girls is creating such a fear in them of what their responsibility is and of who they're living with, who's this person that they're actually marrying. And when they realize that, yes, they have taiva, they do. And if they understand it out of the concept of why Hashem created that taiva, then they're going to look very negatively at their husbands, and they're going to resent the intimacy what could have been intimacy. And that's when sexual dysfunction and a lot of sexual issues do arise. What do we do about this, right? Because we still obviously need to teach the laws of tzniut. We have to teach the girls and boys the proper behaviors that are appropriate between boys and girls at a young age and as they grow up. But the behaviors that we want to be teaching is to the boys, this is how you treat a woman. A woman is not merely an object. She is not the fault. She is not responsible for the challenges that you are having in your sexual life. And she is not the answer to those problems either. Your own self-work is your self-work. And a woman is not going to come to fix that. She's not the answer to your problems. First and foremost, a woman is deserving of love. A woman is deserving of commitment. A woman is deserving of being cherished and honored. Right? A man is told to honor his wife more than he honors himself, to give her more kavod. These are the messages that our boys need to hear. How do we cherish our wives? They need to see fathers who are honoring their mothers. And from that, they're going to learn that, wow, this is how a woman needs to be treated. When they do develop in the sexual realm, they start to have to kind of piece that into what they already know about how you treat a woman. And in that way, we're able to integrate, okay, you're having certain desires, that's between you and Hashem. Okay, a woman is not your answer. One day, when you're ready to commit and cherish a woman and love her properly and provide for her properly, then the woman comes in and there's a certain interplay that happens there. But right now, it's not relevant. That's how we teach Shmirat Negiah. Not because girls are out there to seduce the boys and girls are wicked, like Eve comes from the word evil. Chava, Em Kol Chai. A woman is a mother of all living beings. Start to understand what a woman is. What is her nature, that she is mother to all living things. Okay? So the boys need to learn that their struggle with their sexual world is a real struggle. They have to have mentors that they can speak to, that can guide them into how to go through it with minimal sin and minimal shame. because that's the goal. The goal is a healthy sexual development, so shame does not fit into that picture. We have to reevaluate how we are teaching the boys about their chiyuvim and the laws that pertain to them. Coming back to how we teach our girls. Firstly, we have to teach them the same thing as we're teaching the boys, that they are there to be loved, they are there to be cherished, they are there to nurture, they're naturally nurturers, and that it's okay to look pretty. It is very normal and very healthy for a girl to want to look pretty. So nowadays we are told, don't tell your daughter how pretty she looks, tell her how smart she is. Don't tell her that she looks so lovely, tell her how fast she can run. Wow, you're so fast at running. But the truth is that our girls need to hear, you look pretty. Or perhaps let's go shopping and find something that's more flattering for your body, because we will find something, because girls need to learn how to love their bodies. That doesn't mean it's for anybody else other than for themselves. Firstly, body awareness, which is so squashed when it comes to tzniut, saying the body is irrelevant, is totally thrown out the picture. The body is extremely relevant, and therefore we have all the laws to guard how very relevant our bodies are in a specific situation, with a specific person, in a specific time frame. Right? But for now, what do we need to do to develop in a healthy way? It's to view our bodies in a healthy way. It's to view our development in a healthy way. And so when we teach tzniut, we teach just like the Torah is covered. Because it is so holy, and there are only certain times and certain places that we will open up the Aron, take out the Sefer Torah and open up the Sefer Torah, and we will lovingly open it and read from it, and then we close it up and we clothe it and we crown it and we put it back in its place. That is a woman's body. There is a time for a woman's body to come out. It's a time for her glory to shine, and any other time is not the time for it to shine. It's a time for it to lie quietly, not dormant, because it's awake. We're always developing from a very young age, our sexual selves. It's always in development. So there has to be kind of like an awareness of what's going on in my body. How is my body developing? I have to be aware of it. I have to understand why it's developing in that way. Once again, from a young age, talking about sexuality, talking about how incredible Hashem's world is, that He created our bodies in a way that we can connect husband and wife in the most joyful of ways. We don't have to go into crazy details at a young age, and hopefully I will do more shiurim where I'm more specific about how we teach and at what age and what we teach. But for now, I want to teach do no harm. Okay, we have to be so loving and gentle and really think, what are the messages that might be coming across in how I'm teaching my child. Another thing we have to really think about is, how was I taught? Because if you were taught in a way that propagated these kind of feelings within you, then you've got to work those things out before you can go teach your child or your son. So we have to do our own hishtadlut and our own work first, and sometimes it means going to a rabbi or a rebbitzin. You're welcome to ask questions. Please, down below, comment, ask your questions. I'm happy to get involved and get conversations going so that we can be more specific about, how do I teach my daughter this? How do I teach my son such and such? Obviously within a tsanua framework. But the idea is that we have to be thinking about how we teach and not just spewing out how we were taught, right? We, at the times now where it is easy to get educated, it is easy to have a think about what are going to be the consequences of my words at this most important juncture of my child's life, where they're starting to realize that their bodies are more powerful than just to kick a ball and swing on a swing. There's more to their bodies. There's more that Hashem has in store for them. And that is exciting. And that's what we want to be teaching them. There's so much more to your body than you know. To summarize, teaching tzniut, teaching shmirat negiah, teaching anything that relates to a person's body or a person's sexuality has to be done ba'adinut, ba'adinut, with gentleness, with a lot of thought that goes into it, and a lot of simcha, because at the end of the day, the body is about simcha. Ivdu et Hashem b'simcha. Serving Hashem is about simcha, and we serve Hashem through our bodies. Every mitzvah has to be done with an action of the body. So the bodies are holy, the bodies are important, and we want a person's relationship with their bodies to convey that, to be, I love my body is powerful, my body is wonderful, and one day I'll be able to do this with my body, and one day I'll be able to do that with my body, and it's exciting, not something that's scary, not something that's disgusting, not something that's only for the boys and I'm too spiritual for that, but something that boys and girls are working in a very healthy framework, developing themselves towards a very healthy, intimate life. I want to once again encourage you to subscribe to my channel. If you've got questions, go ahead and ask questions, because I'd be very excited to put up a Q&A where I take your questions and read them out and then answer them. And let me know if there are any specific topics that you would like to hear about, or something that's been on your mind, and I'm happy to address these things. I'm happy to speak about them, and go ahead and share, because please God, this Torah wisdom is yours. This Torah wisdom always was yours and always should be yours, and we have to claim that Torah knowledge so that we can heal ourselves and we can educate our children in the best way possible for their healthy development. I wish you all well, and thank you so much for watching.